After a viral Kodak Black clip had everyone talking and fans questioning his mindset, the discussion didn't stay online for long. Concern turned into heated debate across social media, and when Boosie Badazz jumped in, saying Kodak needs real help, the conversation shifted from speculation to personal.
I don't even know what's going on, so why y'all speaking on I don't know. You snitching!
Kodak Black chose to handle things on his own terms, and the way he did it didn't just feel unusual, it completely caught everyone by surprise. Tension flared again in February 2026 when a clip emerged of him performing in Texas, and fans quickly speculated after noticing he seemed off balance and needed support from security on stage. Word spread that he had arrived hours late, and the footage went viral, circulating across social media and blogs. Boosie Badazz reacted quickly, jumping into the comments to suggest Kodak needed help, instantly bringing their long-standing tension back into the spotlight. This wasn't the first time Boosie publicly spoke about Kodak's been vocal for months, even years, and every time he shares his opinion, Kodak responds. This instance was no different, as Kodak went live to address Boosie directly, calling out what he saw as a recurring pattern of talking about him publicly instead of handling matters privately.
I'm a realist, bro. I'm a realist.
Kodak Black made it clear he sees himself a certain way, and having Boosie Badazz go online and paint him like he's reckless didn't match the image Yak believes he carries. He felt like his name was being misrepresented publicly, and that didn't sit right with him. But what he said next is what really had everybody in the streets and across social media talking.
You snitching! You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of little shit like, friend, come on.
Now that word right there is serious. In the streets, calling somebody a snitch can permanently damage their reputation. Kodak Black wasn't implying Boosie was working with law enforcement. He meant Boosie was putting personal matters out for the world to judge. In Kodak's eyes, airing someone's private struggles online is its own line that shouldn't be crossed. He was basically telling Boosie that speaking on another man's life publicly, especially online, breaks street code.
Stop playing with me on this internet. I swear to God. For real.
Kodak Black kept it completely real. No subliminals, no coded lines. He looked straight into the camera and told Boosie Badazz to step back. Then he doubled down, saying he doesn't involve himself in other people's business the way Boosie keeps doing with him.
Try to see, I don't want to be trying to care about your business.
Kodak drew a firm line. He said he's not the type to jump online and speak on what's happening in Boosie's life, so he couldn't understand why Boosie kept doing that to him. Then Yak made it personal, bringing up his own family's experiences with people sharing private matters publicly.
My brother got told on. Homie, I got told when I was in carjacking. What is you?
That was Kodak connecting Boosie's public commentary to something deeper than just rap tension. To him, this wasn't a small industry disagreement, it felt like exposure. He compared it to being told on in the streets, which where they're from is considered one of the worst things you can do. Boosie, on his side, had addressed the situation, admitting fans pressed him about speaking on different topics, including matters related to Young Thug, and that Kodak had been responding. But Boosie said he was facing bigger issues at the time.
Like, all this shit I'm going through right now, like, man, I shouldn't even have no energy for this shit, bro. Like, I'm going through real gangster shit.
Boosie explained that federal gun charges were hanging over him, with sentencing approaching fast. He made it clear he didn't have the mental space to focus on whatever Kodak had going on.
I can't be going back and forth on no internet, bro. Like, especially, yeah.
Then Boosie added another layer, saying that both he and Kodak were trying to succeed from the same opportunities, navigating the same industry circles.
You know, I'm trying to get the same thing you got from the same people. And you know that, bro. Come on, type the shit you want.
That statement suggested Boosie didn't see Kodak as an enemy, but as someone who should understand their shared position in the game. Still, Kodak wasn't accepting that angle. In his eyes, Boosie kept putting his name out there unnecessarily, and he wanted it to stop completely.
I care about you in the screen, you rap, you.
That line summed up Kodak Black's stance in this clash. He didn't view Boosie Badazz as having authority over his personal life. Boosie was just another rapper, nothing more. This wasn't about who had the stronger discography, it was about one man telling another to stop speaking on him publicly, and the other refusing to back down. The February 2026 moment was only the latest chapter. The roots go back to 2023, when everything first set in motion. Before the diss tracks, public callouts, and online back and forth that had fans picking sides, their relationship looked more like mutual respect. It felt like an OG and rising artist dynamic. Boosie had praised Kodak's raw talent in interviews, saying he had a natural gift you either have or you don't. He even shared a story about pulling Kodak aside, advising him to leave Florida, warning that his environment was toxic and trouble seemed to follow him. It was the kind of advice an older figure gives out of genuine concern. And Kodak later acknowledged that dynamic himself. In lyrics, he admitted he once looked up to Boosie. A line later flipped during their tension, but before the smoke and statements, the respect was real. That line summed up Kodak Black's stance in this clash. He didn't view Boosie Badazz as having authority over his personal life. Boosie was just another rapper, nothing more. This wasn't about who had the stronger discography, it was about one man telling another to stop speaking on him publicly, and the other refusing to back down. The February 2026 moment was only the latest chapter. The roots go back to 2023, when everything first set in motion. Before the diss tracks, public callouts, and online back and forth that had fans picking sides, their relationship looked more like mutual respect. It felt like an OG and rising artist dynamic. Boosie had praised Kodak's raw talent in interviews, saying he had a natural gift you either have or you don't. He even shared a story about pulling Kodak aside, advising him to leave Florida, warning that his environment was toxic and trouble seemed to follow him. It was the kind of advice an older figure gives out of genuine concern. And Kodak later acknowledged that dynamic himself. In lyrics, he admitted he once looked up to Boosie. A line later flipped during their tension, but before the smoke and statements, the respect was real. There was a mentorship vibe between Boosie Badazz and Kodak Black, even if informal and not constant. That dynamic shattered in the summer of 2023, all because of one controversial name in hip-hop, Tekashi 6ix9ine. In July 2023, Kodak linked with 6ix9ine on the track Shakalaka. In the culture, 6ix9ine had become the most notorious rat in modern rap, having testified in federal court against his own crew, making him untouchable in street credibility circles. The collaboration sparked debate, but for Boosie, this wasn't a agree to disagree moment. He went scorched earth on Kodak, making it clear there would be no pass for money, clout, or anything. His critique was sharp and personal. No amount of bread could justify working with someone who violated basic street code. Boosie questioned Kodak's street credibility entirely, suggesting he hadn't truly lived the life he raps about. Coming from someone like Boosie, who's done real time and is one of the South's most authentic voices, that hit hard. For Boosie, the issue wasn't just the call, it was what it represented, compromising principles for a check. Kodak responded by reposting a video calling Boosie a clown, dismissing the criticism as an older head trying to stay relevant by policing the younger generation. The T was the first real exchange of smoke between Kodak Black and Boosie Badazz, setting a pattern that would repeat for years. Boosie stepped into the role of accountability, while Kodak questioned whether Boosie even had the right to check anyone. The tension escalated quickly after that initial back and forth. By August 2023, Boosie took it to wax, dropping the diss track Ungrateful aimed directly at Kodak over the 6ix9ine collab, accusing him of trashing his own reputation with reckless moves and questionable associations. The track was raw and uncut, carrying the weight of someone who felt personally disrespected. To Boosie, Kodak's move wasn't just bad business, it violated the culture they both came up in. Ungrateful channeled all that frustration into music, marking the first time either artist used bars as a direct weapon in the beef. Then money entered the equation. In November 2023, Boosie accused Kodak of sampling his music without clearance or respect, adding a financial layer to an already personal conflict. It wasn't enough that Kodak had crossed a major line by working with a known controversial figure. Now he was profiting off Boosie's catalog while the beef raged. The sampling dispute turned the issue from principles to dollars, making it even harder to resolve.
Kodak Black just got arrested.
Yeah.
Apparently, he was high off something. He fell asleep in his car when the police pulled.
all the smoke from 2023 spilled into 2024 with no cooldown. In February, Kodak responded with the track 11 AM in Malibu, launching a diss aimed directly at Boosie.
They say that he had a mouthful of cocaine.
Yeah.
If that video comes out, if they had a body cam and you see Kodak.
The track reignited everything just as things had started to cool. Boosie Badazz fired back quickly, defending his stance and returning to the same points. Kodak was mishandling his talent, making poor decisions, and hurting himself more than any rival ever could.
Black with a mouthful of cocaine, that is going to be the biggest meme of 2024.
The track reignited everything just as things had started to cool. Boosie Badazz fired back quickly, defending his stance and returning to the same points. Kodak was mishandling his talent, making poor decisions, and hurting himself more than any rival ever could.
Yeah, I don't laugh because I don't laugh at people's troubles, bro. I mean, I got my own trouble.
By March 2024, Boosie told anyone with a mic or camera that Kodak Black's career had been on a downward spiral since the 6ix9ine collab, framing Kodak's trajectory as a textbook case of self-sabotage. There was a brief moment when it seemed like tension might ease. Boosie went public, saying he was ending the beef, wishing Kodak well, and criticizing media for constantly pitting black artists against each other. It was a mature move, an olive branch that could have buried the conflict, but the truce was fragile.
He said that he doesn't do cocaine, he does meth and perks. Like, this is somehow better. Like, he said, I ain't no junkie.
The 6ix9ine collab had sparked the initial fire, but the fuel keeping it alive was deeper: the drug issue. For Boosie, substance abuse was the unspoken reason behind many of his comments about Kodak, the underlying cause behind calling his behavior crazy, and the driver behind moments when he shifted from sounding like an opponent to offering guidance like an OG. The clearest example came when Kodak faced legal trouble, and the details of his arrest circulated. Boosie spoke on it in an interview, blending humor with genuine concern, a mix that has defined his approach throughout this saga.
I told y'all before, man, even when me and Kodak had, I won't see him get help, bro.
The details were wild. Boosie Badazz ran through the reports, painting a picture that teetered between heartbreaking and unbelievable.
I know that shiny skin that...
What does shiny skin mean? What do you mean?
It's like a drug addict.
He was nearly speechless at the visuals. Boosie admitted the situation had all the ingredients for the internet to tear it apart and run it into the ground. That tension roasting someone while recognizing their rock bottom has followed Boosie through this entire beef. He's publicly joked at Kodak, yet repeatedly emphasized that what he truly wants is for Kodak to get right. Whether that concern is fully genuine or partly for cameras is debated endlessly, but Boosie has never stopped expressing it. Then came a moment that cranked the absurdity higher. After the arrest, Kodak went on Instagram to address the cocaine allegations himself, leaving people more confused than the original mugshot. The internet erupted. Kodak's defense denying cocaine while casually admitting to meth and Percocets became an instant symbol of everything critics said about his judgment.